don't care. Don't burn my freaking pan.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Animal Advocates Radio Voices Carry for Animals, number 501 shows this evening and counting. Just celebrated the 500th show last Thursday, and it was awesome. I'm going to keep going, and we're going to keep standing up and speaking out for the animals in need and distress because they so well deserve it. Yeah, without us, they have no hope to carry on with their lives and future. So it's up to us to get changes made, positive changes made. Because animals are just like children and elderly. They have, they're helpless, defenseless, voiceless, and innocent. And we have to make sure that their lives are, living comfortably and at peace and get treated with dignity and respect. That's the main thing because there's so many out there of all these shows I have done over the years. I mean, it's not minor problems; it's massive. So we got to all come together and keep going. And the more of us that come together, we are better and together than apart. We have to keep contacting them state representatives and senators and try to get new laws enforced because that's the only way you can enforce on these animal abusers is stricter laws and harsher penalties. But I'm just going to go over a couple things here. My name is Debbie Dahmer, aka Mama Bear, and Mama Bear does care because she is on the air. And please share, share, share for the Mama Bear. This podcast is rocking the airways for the animals, everyone. That's such inspiring news. For the ones that didn't know, I was on Blog Talk Radio for 10 and a half years. And they closed down January the 31st of this year. And the following month, I started on this Podbean podcast app and player. It's on the web and the app. So if you're listening in from the Podbean podcast web, you could go ahead and join us here in the chat room. There's just a couple short steps to take, and you'll be in there. But go over to the Podbean app and Podbean podcast app and player on Google Play or the App Store. And what you're going to do is download it free installed, okay? And you're going to follow Voices Carry for Animals podcast, and then you're in, okay? And on the web, you could go ahead and start up a free account and go to podbean.com and go up in the right hand corner, log in. And then what you're going to do is press create account. And then what you're going to do is full name or nickname, and then email address. and then you create a password, check the I'm not a robot and create account. And then you're going back up and going to search Voices Carry for Animals podcast and follow, and you're in on the web. So please keep, uh, spread the word on this show. Keep pressing this like in here. You can also share this show right from the chat room. This chat room is phenomenal. I want to welcome everyone aboard in this chat room. We got a super team player here. I mean, they're awesome, and we all work great together, and it's going to, keep going. So, but what I'm going to do is go over a couple things here. I wanted to give a shout out to something happened to so sad and heartbreaking that happened to one of my former guests, and she's also a close friend for many years, and she's had, was a guest on this podcast many times, for action takers for pit bulls, and also on my podcast where she was the host on there several years ago, and I had interviewed her many times, going back to TS Radio uh, Network, Marty Oakley, Voices Care for Animals, and she has been a strong, very strong animal advocate out there, helping so many pages, or mainly groups on Facebook, tirelessly working for the pit bulls. And but she had we had got some sad news that she had fallen and ended up in the hospital. And I have been in contact with her and her son Arthur. He's trying to get in, come in here sooner or later. But she ended up in the hospital, got released, went into a nursing home there in New Brighton, Pennsylvania, and she's been there. And now I found out she's, on a walker, and now, she is doing better, and but she's trying to learn the cane. And I was talking to her on the phone in the nursing home, and she is getting better, so that's a plus. Thank God. Keep the prayers coming for her, because she so well deserves. We never know so she has fallen, and we need to help her to get back up. And her dog Annie, pit bull, was in the house just for 3 weeks, and it's been condemned. So Arthur Liberty has been there to help as much as he can, because her son, because he can't have pets where where he lives. So he's been feeding Annie and everything, and getting water and stuff. So the good news is on her, she got one of the Kelly Pink Aquelas, and she is has done so much. We connected. She met, picked Annie up yesterday, took her to the vet, got all her updated shots. And Kelly, this is, I mean, so amazing and so incredible what you have done. I hope you're tuning in. I was trying to get her, to listen in this evening, but she has been amazing. And then the more good news is, because Annie is 14 years old, and she's been saddened by Diane, her mommy, being away, hasn't seen her in 3 weeks. So, yeah, Arthur, was telling me that, she's very sad right now, but it's expected, okay? And so the good news is Annie was, is in a kennel right now, and she's got a foster dad coming over to visit her. He just moved over from out of state, and he's going to be taking her in. And we can't thank him enough, but I need his full name, because he is, they're going to give her a nice home and love and everything. And with all this going down with Diane, it's so, I mean, it was so heartbreaking to hear all this, because she works tirelessly on the Facebook groups and everything. And another one that helped was Debbie Hassan, and she has been an incredible team player here. All of us working together. I ran posts on my Voices Carry for Animal support group, had over 320 shares going out. and that was we was not going to give up, okay, because two fosters already fell through, and we was not going to give up on Annie, okay. But the house has been condemned, and she can't, with the roof and there's no running water and everything. We got to keep her up, not down, because she's been a hard pit bull advocate for many, many years. And whatever I can do to help out, and give a big shout out to Arthur Liberty, her son, and he has been amazing. We've been working together, and so keep saying some prayers for Diane and Len Echo, or Diane and Liberty, and also Annie. Because she went to the vet yesterday, got her shots and everything. So everything is looking, improving. And wanted to give all her admins and the fur baby prayer that's helping out. Kathleen, I hope you're listening. McCurry, Zay, there is a list of here that's helping out and keeping her groups going, and I think that's amazing. And that I've been in contact with them to keep them informed, because there's no phones in the nursing home, everyone. So it's an obstacle course just getting to her. So her son was in, you know, trying to get going to he was heading over there. I got a text from him a while ago, and he is going to try to get her at least to listen or hook her up so she can call in, and that would be wonderful. Diane, we love you, and we're praying for you, okay? Because I mean, we know you've fallen, but get back up. And get a big shout out to Jeanette Allen out there in the Fur Baby prayer group. That's all been supportive for all of them. Laura Berry, and I mean, this list with everybody that's showing their support and everything. Deborah Hossfield, I know she was on her mother. She was just down here in Florida. Her mother was having surgery, but she was helping out even with her being in Florida. So we got Barbara. Hey, Barbara, this is great that you're showing up. Another one. We love these pit bulls, everyone. So, but I'm gonna when Arthur comes in, I'll bring him on for a couple minutes and everything, because this is such a hard. I mean, just to listen to this, what happened to her, and when I was talking to her, she did sound better, and I said, Diane, keep praying, okay? Don't give up. Don't we want you when your home is condemned and everything, it'll work out. Pray and God will show you the way. Okay, so but I know what you mean there, Barbara. The tearing up, and it's very tough. But I'm going to bring on my guest, Dinah Keynes. She couldn't come in this evening, but I am rescheduling her. She has some personal issues with her furry son and everything, and give a shout out to her, because she's been a former guest on the show too. And it's wonderful what she's doing, because she is, with Miami Coalition against breed specific legislation on Facebook, everyone, and also on has a website. So I'm going to be getting with her. But we had her name is Jean Den, and she's oh, you are all right. You made it. This is great, Jen. I love this, and she's a board member and also a dog trainer. Okay, and yeah, and we're going to be talking about, with the homeless dogs this evening, and dogs being dumped at shelters, okay, and everything. So, and also another thing we're going to be talking about was dog fighting. That the dogs, that's rescued from coming in dogs seized in dog fighting. That's very a hot topic too. So yes. But hello everyone, and we got um, Pina Balzar, and she's in with us. She was a former guest for Justice for Destiny. Okay, so I'm going to bring her on later, because she's a big pit bull lover too, and she has a group. But this is what I call teamwork, everyone. But so welcome to the show, there, Jen. This is wonderful. I love it, and I thank Dala for hooking us up. But go right ahead and tell the audience, the listeners, a little bit about yourself, and we'll go from there. Okay?
Sure. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Can everybody hear
Emmy,
me? I'm hoping.
yes, you sound good.
Woohoo!
Yes.
All right,
Yeah.
technical issues aside. So, as Deb mentioned, I'm a certified dog trainer. I'm a licensed family dog mediator. But more importantly, I work with dogs in shelter environments and dogs that were seized from state and federal dogfighting cases. So
Mhm.
I do canine behavior for some municipal shelters, and I ran a pit bull rescue for 11 years. So I've kind of done the gamut, and I love dogs, especially pit bulls. So that's me in a nutshell.
That is you, and thanks for all you're doing because every effort counts out there. Strong voices, strong leaders, and strong supporters leads to strong victories. Everybody, and it means so much to help them because pit bulls get the bad rap a lot, and it's not right. So we have to be there for them, right? But go ahead
Yeah, that.
and
Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, yeah. But pit bulls. All the ones I've known, they're awesome. So and we have to be their voice, everyone, because they always get one dog bites, one of them bites, and then they take it out on all of them. And we hate to hear about getting somebody get bitten, but we can't take it all on all. And that's when the discrimination comes in, right? But if you want to get started and with the homeless dogs that's happening out there, we know it's over. I mean, it's an overcapacity within these shelters too. I was in contact, Jen, with a lot of several of them, four of them over the weekend, and, trying to get advice for Annie and here I'm in Florida and they're in Pennsylvania, and I'm trying to do as much as I can. Every single one of them said there's a major crisis in the United States in
Mhm.
these animal shelters of overcrowding. And I said, oh no, waiting list for like up 6 months or longer to get any animal in there. Okay, and they have to have records and paperwork and this and that. So we are in a real crisis here. And who pays the price when a lot of them is going to get put down, all ages. So we got to educate people, let them know this, 'cause this high inflation is not helping any matters any. And with these animals getting put down, all ages, it's so they don't have a chance without us, right? It's so sad. I heard that from every one of them I called. So it wasn't just like one or two or three, and these I see on the news feed where they're networking them, cross posting them, and they only have 2, 3, 4, 5 days to get them to safety, rescued or adopted or fostered, and that's not really enough time, right? Think about it. It's so sad. But go ahead and if what you want to bring up the homeless animals, and yeah, go right ahead.
Yeah, so as you said, it's a nationwide crisis. It is not limited to certain areas of the country. It just isn't. I work with shelters all across the country and rescues as well. You mentioned shelters are overcrowded, rescues are too. And the big issue with that is a lot of the ways that shelters get animals out in the right way and to get them in good homes is through rescues. So if the rescues don't have space, then where are the animals going to go? Right? So it's a complicated issue. I've been asked this a lot. Like, why is this an issue? It's not one answer. That's the problem, right? So,
Yep.
you talked about inflation. Yeah. Prices of food, dog food. If you look at the price of vet care, it is unbelievably high. If you look at the availability of veterinarians to spay and neuter, it's off the charts. And if we sit there and preach spay and neuter, which by the way, I believe 150%, but you think about it and you finally get somebody that you've been working with, you've been talking to for the last 3 months, and you finally talk them into neutering their dog, right? Finally. And you give them a voucher and say, here it is, it's a free neuter. And they go to try to schedule the neuter, and the vet says, you're going to have to wait 6 months. What does that do? So there's a shelter vet crisis. I spoke with Dr. Julie Levy at the University of Florida shelter med program a while back and said, what can we do? Some Excuse me, I'm getting choked up. Some organizations are actually giving stipends for veterinary students to go, like bonuses, to sign up for shelter med. Um, and still, I mean, even doing that is great, but it's going to take a few years to get vets up to speed. So, there's a sheer number of homeless animals because we haven't been spaying and neutering. There's
Mhm.
families that are losing their homes because they can't afford to stay in them. There's just so many things in the economy. There's so many things in the world. I mean, look at our world. It is not the same as it was even 2 years ago. It's not. And it just makes it that much harder. And as you said, who pays the price? The dogs. But even more than that, who pays the price? I'm going to sit here and tell you right now, it's the dogs labeled as pit bulls over any other dog, because that's the most. If you look at the shelter, and the reason I got involved in pit bull rescue, the vast majority of dogs are labeled as pit bulls. I mean, they just are. We have too many of them, and I love them, but there's too many of them. And so when you have too many dogs and not enough homes that can afford to take them, even if they want to, then you've got an issue. And then you've got an issue on the intake side of shelters too. Some shelters have instituted, what is it called? Managed intake, which sounds great, but it's not, because yes, it's limiting the number of animals shelters take in, but what is happening? People are letting their animals out on the street because there's nowhere for them to go. If the shelter says no, and you can't afford to take care of your dog, and they can't give you whatever it is you need to take care of them, what do you do? So it is. And I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer or anything, but it is a crisis, and we need to get the word out. And I think all of us on this podcast know that. But do your neighbors know that? Do your friends know that? You know what I mean? Like, we've got to get it to the people that have no idea. And there's a lot of people in this country that have no clue what's going on. They just don't know.
That's right. I know. And we got to get it out there, everyone, whether you're sharing it on, social media or talking with, within your friends or neighbors or coworkers. There has to be something done here. We got to be a part of the solutions, not the ongoing problems, you know, year after year, decade after decade. And we have to do something. We can do something. We got to help these animals out. They cannot help themselves to all this, and there's so many. Well, I think I've read like approximate a million healthy adoptable animals in shelters, all ages. Okay, get euthanized a year. Approximately a million. And what is up with that? You know what I'm saying? It's like, whoa. And if you add it times a year, times two, three, 10, that's some, that is absurd. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? Can't we? I mean, we have to look at this and say, whoa, what? Is it okay? Is it acceptable? Is it, do we look the other way and not do nothing? Everyone adopt, don't shop out there, please, and do something. Spay and neuter your pets. We have to get this under control, and because it's out of control. With these phone calls I made the other day, I was like, I mean, I was in total shock. It didn't really shock me too much, because I knew they were overcrowded, but this is like now it's massive problems. Okay, it's went from probably from last year to this year, and these animals they don't stand a chance without us, and we have to help them, not ignore them. Right, Jen? I mean,
No,
it's so
that's right.
sad,
That's
and
right. And
yep,
Darla brought up a really good point. The offer to foster 100%. If you have an extra room in your house or even a space in your house, don't feel bad about a dog in a crate for a while. That's if it saves their life and it gets them onto a rescue, it's worth it 1,000,000% over. So the more fosters, rescues, and shelters have, the more likely the dog will get out alive. And don't we all want that? Don't we all
that's
want them
right.
to leave alive and be happy and live good lives?
Yep,
Yeah.
give them that chance. They so well deserve. It's not their fault. You can't blame the animals. You got to blame the humans. Human beings are the root of all problems. We can't blame the animals. and we need to help them, everyone, and just do your part, foster, help out, volunteer at shelters, and help them out because they all need our help, and it's not just one or two, two of them. It is like massive. Poor Annie. I was like thinking, what is going to go on here? And she lucked out. I mean, so much, And she's 14, Jen, and so, when she got checked out and everything, and then going to, meet the foster dad this weekend, then hope she's at least she's in, she's going to be safe. She's not going to be in a condemned home, and she's scared. She don't know what happened to her mommy. She
Yep.
has no clue,
Yep.
and that happened. Diane's not the only one that has happened to. It happens all the time,
That's right.
so
Well, that
emergencies do pop up.
Well,
Yep.
and that's part of the thing, right? So I was just at a shelter in South Carolina the past 2 days, today included, and where I do behavior work. And most of what I do is I look at dogs that are scared and try to help people understand because they get labeled. If a dog is barking in their kennel, sometimes it'll be labeled, the somebody will come by and say that dog's aggressive. No, there's different types of barking that represent different things the dog needs. So, I worked with two dogs today that were super scared. One was suspected of being physically abused, and she's got the marks all over her body to prove it. Well, do you blame her for flinching when somebody goes to touch her? No. I mean, come on. They learn by association. So if a person constantly hurts a dog, they're going to build an association that that person is not a good person and that they should be scared of people. And that doesn't mean they're an aggressive dog. That means that they're trying to protect themselves. So, there's a lot of dogs that come in, and I tell people, it's kind of like, and I can say this because I ran a prison program. It's kind of like being in prison. What happens if you lose your home and you lose everything you've ever known? Think about that for a minute. And you get put in a place that you've never been before, and there's sights and sounds that you've never seen, never heard, and it's loud, and there's people yelling across from you, and there's people yelling beside you, and you have no idea what's going on. It's they have to survive. They go into survival mode, right? I mean, it is just not. It's not okay for us to label a dog as not adoptable if they're scared. That's okay. Just like it's not okay to label a dog that might not like every dog they meet. Well, do you like everybody you meet? You know? So that's what I try. Some of what I try to do is try to educate people. The other thing I want to say real quick about homeless animals is I want to talk about the shelters. Shelter staff works really, really hard. Every shelter staff I've met, like they care and they work hard, but it doesn't matter what they do, it's not right. And so it's really hard for people to be in that environment and try to do their best and have to put down a dog that they don't want to put down, and then have the public say, you murdered this dog, you're a murderer, and I get it, it's emotional, but we have to think about it all the way around, because if we lose the people at shelters that care, then what happens to the dogs?
That's right.
What
I
happens?
know.
What happens? Yep.
Yep. Yep.
So
And there's some sad situations out there. We can all do better than what's going on now because now it seems like it's getting worse instead of better.
yep,
And that's the sad part. Uh, Jen, they said, hey, they blame it on society. We are society.
that's
We
right.
are.
Yep.
So what else are we going to blame it on? I mean,
Mhm.
why is this so massive and overcapacitated? When I was talking on the phone, I was like, oh my goodness, this is not good. This is terrible. You know, we have to do something and not just keep taking them out and think that's going to solve all the problems. Because it's just
No.
going to come in worse and everything else.
Well,
So, but that's what we got. We can't give up. We got to be relentless, everyone. We have to be relentless and not give up because, like I said before, strong leaders and strong supporters leads to strong victories. And look at Dyla, how hard she's working out there too. You know, and in Miami, the pit bull ban got lifted, right? Back several years ago,
It
right?
did. It did. I'm on the board of the Miami Coalition, and I've known Dahlia for a long time. It is that was, and I'll excuse my language, but this that was one hell of a fight. Like
I
it was. I was down there when they first put verbiage on the ballot, and let me tell you, I read that ballot. I don't know how many times, and I couldn't figure out what they were trying to say, and I'm in the middle of it. So there was just a lot of political things going on with that ban, and I'm just so happy that it finally got overturned. So
oh
happy. But you
yeah.
know what? That fight is not over. And even in the state of Florida, let me tell you, even though discrimination is illegal, there are shelters in the state of Florida right now, today, that are discriminating against pit bulls that will not let people adopt them out. So
And
there, that fight will continue, and it's not just Florida, right? We were involved in the Denver, Colorado, the fight, the Ontario, Canada fight. It will always pop up, and that's because when you see something where it says, and I'm using air quotes, a pit bull bit someone or whatever, first of all, everything is called a pit bull. Let's be honest. You know, Pretty much any
mm,
dog with a decent sized head or a stocky body, no matter what they are, they're going to be called a pit bull. And as I said before, there's a million pit bulls out there, right? There's a lot because we're not spaying and neutering the way we need to be. And there was a study done a long time ago that said one bad article, one bad story on a pit bull is covered in the media 230 times more than that same story with a different dog label, I'm just going to pick on a golden retriever or chihuahua, whatever. It's because of the stigma that they carry, and not rightly so, but it's up to us to be responsible pet parents. And it's up to us to teach people the right way to handle dogs. You look at child bites, right? 9 times out of 10, the parent didn't know what they needed to do, right? So,
yeah.
leaving a dog unsupervised with a child, there was one that happened not too long ago where the child was at a daycare and the daycare worker, I think, fell asleep. And the child went outside, opened the pen. It wasn't pit bulls, it was Rottweilers, but whatever, it doesn't matter. It was still a dog that hurt a child, killed it. I don't know if the child was killed, but hurt. I think the child was killed because the child opened the pen and the dogs killed him or her. I mean, that is irresponsible child management because that was a daycare worker. That's why I'm saying management and not parenting. So, there's just a lot we can do, and there's a lot. Education is key. I think educating kids is critical. We need to be in the classrooms, bringing a dog in, explaining to kids. I've done this a million times. How to approach a dog, what to do, what do you do if a dog comes up to you? Teaching kids what to do. Should you pet a dog while it's eating? Should you try to take a bone away? Just simple things like that we find common sense. Kids don't know any better. But if we can educate them, especially if the parents aren't, then those incidents of dog bites will go down, which means pit bulls will be less stigmatized, and it's a win-win. So there's just a lot that we need to do as a society to help dogs as a whole.
Oh, oh yeah. Cause and like you were saying, would teach the children when you teach them young, just like with when I was growing up, I was with my brother. We were taught to treat animals with dignity and respect. We had pets and everything. I have never in my life abused an animal or neglected them. And when you teach them young about treating animals with dignity and respect, educate them. Education is the key, and they'll move through their forward in their life as an adult doing the same. And I look at myself now, I say, look at this. And I give my parents a big hug. My dad's deceased, but, I said, like, thank you for teaching me all this and having pets in the house, fur babies. And going through and look at me now, I'm an animal advocate, many years. And before I was an animal advocate before this podcast. And so the education needs to be taught in these schools, whether their families have pets or not. They should all know that, hey, this is the way, educate them, and oh, Jen, I love to see those photos when the children are reading books to the animals in the shelters. I mean, that's so heartwarming, isn't it? I look at it as like, wow, and spending time with them and just reading to them and getting close to them and that and education everyone to teach your children, just like everything else. When we bring these pets into our homes and adopt them and our fur babies, they are now our furry loved ones, and they got to be treated with dignity and respect. We have to take time out with them and spend time with them and treat them fairly. Teach your children that no, don't hit them, don't pull their tail, don't ride them. That's a no. And that within, when you do that and they grow up, hey, they're going to be a better person all the way around. The animal lovers out there and the animal advocates, we need all of us. We need you. We need to get stronger and louder. That's these animals, these pit bulls. I'll tell you, you hear some sad stories of them getting pulled down, and they're even using them as service dogs. Even cops are using them, so they can't be that bad, right? Think about it. They just
Yeah,
get the bad. Yep,
yeah, I just
it's.
wanna add on to that because you just said that they could be for cops. So, a few years ago, we had dogs that my rescue took in from a dog fighting bust in Ontario, Canada. If you Google the Ontario 21, you can see all about that. But one of them was a puppy that was born in the care of the Ontario SPCA, and he lived at the shelter for 2 years because pit bulls are illegal in Ontario. Okay. So this is a dog that was born at a shelter and lived at a shelter for 2 years, his whole life. He came to me in Florida. I put him in a prison program and quickly determined that he had ball drive that was needed to be a detection dog. Well, guess what? He passed his test and he became a certified narcotics detection dog. So I want you to think about this a minute. This dog came from a place where he was illegal to have just because of what he looked like and what he was called. Okay? So
Mm.
so that's where he came. And he comes to the United States and now he's a full-fledged law enforcement officer. And he had I don't even know how many busts of narcotics that he found. That is just an unbelievable story.
Wow. Yes,
Yep.
it is. That
Yep.
is that is amazing. So, they got to give these dogs a chance. They can't discriminate. They just like with dog fighting. They are forced into fighting. It's not their choice. They get drove there or walk there or whatever. Get trained to kill, hurt. So it's not their fault. Okay, we got to, and then there's people cheering around, and I wish they would turn over a new leaf and help the animals out instead of keeping them always in harm's way, because it's not right. You look at it, it's like, whoa, people cheering them on, and they're in pain and agony, excruciating pain, and fighting each other, blood's coming out, and they're enjoying it. What is wrong with this picture, right? Think about it. I could never watch one of them dog fighting, when they're doing that, because and I look at it, I remember this one, this was years ago, and he had lost his, and I remember this so well, it was a total nightmare. He lost one of his eyes, and he was oh, Jen, it was terrible, okay? And I looked, I was like, why are there so many cruel people out there? What kind of answer can we give that to them? Where is there, it seems heartless and cruel and non human. Why is there so many? And I've asked that question many times. Why they enjoy all this, this fighting going on, and making money over it. What kind of world do we live in? And they expect it to be acceptable, okay, to us to just look the other way and not do nothing, and that's not going to happen. I've had many shows on dog fighting and stuff. So, I look at it and I was like, they need to turn over new leaves, stand up for the animals, not put them in harm's way like that, and keep up what you're doing, because as a dog trainer and everything, and dogs coming in that I look at it, it's like, oh my goodness, what? why? Dog seized and dog fighting. I don't know if you seen through social media where they, have arrests going on. Glad they got arrested. And I mean, a lot of dogs and everything that been seized from in the dog fighting, that you can't arrest the dogs for doing it because it's not their fault, right? And you look and seeing and these people are just on the sidelines, just cheering them on, and they're in pain. It's the death. What kind of world do we live in? Isn't this terrible, Jen? I mean, it's
Yep.
been going on for many years. That's the
It's
sad part. The sad
well,
part.
I mean, it's been going on for many years, and
Mm,
and this is again back to educating
whoa.
people. I just had a conversation with somebody about this, and they said they had no idea dog fighting was going on, and I'm like, dog fighting goes on everywhere, everywhere,
Oh yeah.
everywhere. There was just a case that was in the news not too long ago in Oklahoma where it was an ex NFL dog fighter, ex dog. Well, he was a dog fighter, ex NFL player that had 190 dogs seized as part of a federal dog fighting bust. I got the pleasure of meeting all of those dogs and got to work with them, and I'm still working with them. And as we speak, we are working on placing those dogs into rescues. I adopted one of those dogs. He's with me and he's amazing. And his name is Buzz Lightyear.
Buzz
Uh,
Lightyear.
Buzz Lightyear.
That
I
is
did
a
not
good
name him,
one.
but I loved it. He's got like a little underbite to end all underbites. But anyway, what the reason I bring that up, and you probably know this, there's a direct link between violence to animals and violence to people. So if there's somebody that's out there fighting dogs, you better believe they're doing something to people too. And every time there's a raid, whether it's a state, a county, or a federal, and I can speak to all three because I've been involved in all three many, many times, there are other illegal activities going on. If you look back at the Michael Vick case, I got to meet the USDA investigator that handled that case. And he did not go down. It did not happen that they went to his house to look for dog fighting. That is not how it happened at all. It was another crime, and I think it was his cousin or nephew or something like that. And I went to a talk that he gave at the University of Florida years ago, and he heard I was coming and came and talked to me before he spoke, and he said, "You're going to hate what I say, but just hang in there." And I said, "Okay." And he said, "When I first went on scene and saw the dogs, I said they all need to be killed." And I looked at him and I frowned and he's like, he looked at me and just went, calm down, calm down. So I did. And at the end, he said, I couldn't have been more wrong. These were the best dogs. And so, I think it was drugs is what they went to the house for. And again, it wasn't Vic, it was one of his relatives. And then they were out and they found all the dogfighting paraphernalia. There was a case not too long ago in a state that I can't name where the power company went out to do something and they saw something not right. So, you hear this a lot. If you see something, say something. I'm telling you right now, if you see something, say something. You can stay anonymous. There are hotlines, there are tip lines. You can come to me, whatever. We can figure it out. But the more people, we're seeing more and more bust. I mean, look at South Carolina. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what's going on. I'm very proud to live in South Carolina because the governor of South Carolina has made dogfighting one of his top 5 priorities.
That's
Because of
wonderful.
that,
Yep.
he allocated an additional $500,000 a year to dogfighting investigative agents. The SLED team, South Carolina Law Enforcement Department, was just honored by the ASPCA with an award for their work in dogfighting. And they have busted rings right, left, and center. And they are extremely compassionate, and they're taking these people down one by one dog at a time, one person at a time, one property at a time. And I'm hoping that other states follow suit. It may cost $500,000, to get those investigators, but look at what you're saving and look at what you're bringing in. You know, you've got all the money that comes in as part of those properties. You get, you get the animals free. That's incredibly, it's like invaluable to allow cut those dogs, because I've done it, from the chains on those dog fighting properties and bring them into an actual loving environment. That right there, I tell you, I've worked with the sled guys a while back when they asked me to help them with something, and the compassion and the how's this dog? How's this dog? Can you send me pictures? It was unbelievable. And I'm hoping that South Carolina is a model for other states. But people think, oh well, animals, people are more important. Well, you have to understand there's a link. Like I said, violence to animals, violence to people. Every single time you will find that. Every time. So if you come out and you handle the animal abusers, you're going to find the people abusers too. You're going to find the murderers, you're going to find the drug dealers, you're going to find all kinds of stuff going on, because they're not just fighting dogs. That's bad enough, but that's not. They're doing all kinds of different things.
I know it is shocking, isn't it, on how much is going on out there from every angle. You look at that news and it's like, whoa, what is happening here? I mean, oh, it's terrible. And something needs to be done. So, like Jen says, if you see something, report it. You can remain anonymous. Be that animal's voice, okay? Because if you don't, I mean, it could die. You got to get it out of harm's way, just like a child or the elderly. Do something. Don't just sit there and look away, because you're going to feel better if you do contact the police. Make that report or whatever how you want to report it, because that's what it's going to take. We need to get this stopped because of this. Like I said, we're heading into 2026 and we still have a massive amount of issues here towards these animals and stuff. They all deserve better. And with these pit bulls, you just want to see BSL disappear. It's not right. And they all deserve to, treat with dignity and respect. Give them that chance, because you look at life, and we're all on this earth temporarily, this crazy place called Earth temporarily, right? We can't say it's not, and we got to make the best of it. So let's do something, everyone. Your voice matters. Your actions matter. Don't look the way. Get on Facebook and share, share, share. Get it out in the news speed, because that like button and mad button and all that is don't serve no justice. What does it do? Facebook ain't gonna change no laws or start them. You're making it take them comments to your state representatives and your senators. Make change. Your city council. Do something there. Especially if there's BSL, because I know when Miami, and like you said, the island fought hard for that. I think it's just the 80s or something, as I remember, in the late 80s. It's been banned with pit
Yep,
bulls.
that's right.
Oh,
That's right.
you know how
Yep.
many years that is? I know
Well, and
she. Wow.
it's been a
Mm,
long time, and what people don't, I don't know if they understand, is the ban on pit bulls. They actually went to people's houses and seized their dogs and killed them. Think about how you would feel if
mm.
that happened to you. They went in
Oh,
and took the dogs out of the homes and killed them, because
whoa.
not because of anything that the dogs did, because of what they looked like or because of what they were called, what they were
Mm.
labeled. That is like, that is so wrong on so many levels.
Oh, it is. Can you? I mean, just imagine going through that. I mean, I
Well,
would.
Dahlia went through that. Dahlia went
Whoa.
through it. Yep. That's
Mm,
part of what got
mm,
her to start all this, is that happened to her. She had them coming after her dog, and that's the
mm,
film. The Miami Coalition has a film called Chocolate, and that's after one of her dogs, and it's an inspiring film. They're actually going to show it at Broward, at the Broward Animal Care, November 1st. So if anybody's in South Florida, if you want to come see it, let me know. Um, it's a really great film, and Dahlia worked really hard on it. But that's part of the education, right? Getting things out like films and documentaries and things like that to get people's attention. I said for a long time with kids, we need to have a video game that teaches kids about how to interact with dogs. That'll get their attention
Oh, yeah,
more.
agreed. That's a great idea, you know?
Yeah.
Wow. Anything to educate them, interest them, and
Right?
bring
You
it to
gotta you
the
gotta make it.
light.
Yeah, I mean the attention spans of people in general, myself included, is extremely small because we don't have time, right? So if you can make it
Right.
interactive and fun, there's a course for law enforcement officers that's amazing. It's a simulator that a friend of mine built, and they actually you pick up a like a plastic gun, and you're in a scenario, and you're making real time decisions, and you're deciding whether to use the taser or the gun or not use anything at all and do this, that, or the other. And you're getting real time feedback. That is education. And that is effective education versus sitting in a classroom listening to somebody talk for 3 hours.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
Yep. I know what you mean. And
Yep.
Jen, are you ready to take any calls? We got probably some
Sure.
callers want to speak and everything.
Sure.
This is a great informative show, everyone. Another one, and you're always welcome back to Jen, because the more exposure, the better. We can't just have one show. Bye, goodbye.
Hey, I will
Keep
talk anytime. I will talk to anybody at any time about all this. Anytime.
awesome. Okay, anybody have any questions or comments for Jen? You're more than welcome to come on air. There's on the lower right hand of your screen of your phone or your laptop or tablet. There's a phone icon or a mic icon. Just press it to alert me you want to come on air, and try to refrain from any noises in the background, okay? Any conversations, TVs, radios, because it's picking up everything. And please keep pressing that like, sharing this show right from the chat room, okay? And a big hello to Laho and Darla's in the house, and these new ones come in. And welcome aboard, everyone. Okay, and Mama Cat, she's out there. She's a. I hope, and a big shout out to her husband George, because he's listening. He always listens in. Tell him I said hi, Mama Cat. The Mama Bear said hello and thanks for all his support listening to these shows. And George, you have a wonderful wife that's out there, because she's a former guest too, Jen. She's has 90 colony cats now. Okay, she had 125 over the years we've been in contact, and she helps them all out, and he helps out, and the winter's coming to keep them warm and everything, and the great, give us great support on this show. But George, you have a wonderful wife there, and a mother and an aunt and all the above. Okay, a sister, and so you should be so proud. So. But anyway, Aloha, you want to come on air? Go right ahead.
Yes,
You have
I'm
any
here.
comments or questions for Jen? Go right ahead.
Yes, Jen, I wanted to apologize in chat that I mistaken you called Delia.
Oh, that's fine. No problem.
Yeah, yeah, no, but thank you so much for speaking against injustice towards pit bulls. And I'm not sure if you read my comments in chat, but I'll repeat once more that my English bulldog, Harry, has been mistaken as a pit bull because of his underbite.
Yep. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, they think he's a vicious dog, but he's a real sweetheart.
Oh, I love English bulldogs. Yeah, I saw an
Yeah,
article in CNN, on CNN. It was a long time ago, and they had a
mhm.
Pekingese that they labeled as a pit bull, and I thought, well, that's a first. I've not seen.
A small breed
Yes,
as a pit bull. It's a little bit funny. I'm sorry.
it is. I kind of laughed, and then I went, well, that right there tells you that we have no idea what we're talking about.
Uh, Sounds like someone on the Kool-Aid.
Yep.
Uh, yes. Well,
Yep.
once again, thank you so much, Jen. And I'll let others speak, though. I just wanted to say thank you so much.
Thank you.
You have a good night.
You too.
Thank you, Debbie.
Hey, thank you for all your ongoing support there, Aloha.
You got it.
Her dog Harry is so adorable. And give him a big hug from me, okay?
I will.
Because he's so adorable. But does anybody else, if you're on the web, and then I want to give a shout out to all of you that's listening from Podbean Podcast Web. If you want to join us here in the chat room, you can just download the free app from the App Store or Google Play under Podbean Podcast App and Player. Install and then follow Voices Carry for Animals podcast, and you're in, okay? And you could join us in here. You'll love this chat room. It is phenomenal. I love this Podbean podcast. I wish I would have found it a long time ago, but I didn't. So I had to, because Blog Talk Radio had a call-in number, which made it a lot easier, and I probably got comfortable. But this has so many options, and after the show, I gets downloaded and edited, and it's going to get published on my two YouTube channels, Voices Carry for Animals podcast, Animal Advocates Radio podcast, my website, everyone, voicescarryforanimals.com. You can subscribe free, and also you can listen to after the show on there, and it has a podcast player on there. The last 5 shows on there, okay, and also on podserve.fm. Here's another one, Animal Advocates Radio. You can follow on there. All the shows are listening there. And on Podbean, once this is complete, all my 300 and some shows from Podbean are on there that was transferred also from Blog Talk. And that's Voices Carry for Animals podbean.com, and you can create an account, free account, podbean.com, log in, and then click create account, and you'll just need your nickname, full name, email address, password, check to see that you're not a robot, and then create account and search Voices Carry for Animals podcast, and you're in. Isn't that wonderful? So keep joining, these numbers getting up in these podcasts, because all you followers out there, follow me, because every time there's a new podcast coming up, which is on Thursdays at 7 o'clock Eastern, you'll get notified on your phone at 7 o'clock. Hey, Voices Carry for Animals podcast starting up. Click to join. And that's modern technology at its best. And also, if you go to your Podbean app, there's a live link, and it's going to show all the current shows that's on live right now. Mine's one of them, and just press it, and you can join the chat room. But anyway, Peanut wants to speak on air. Peanut, are you ready to come on air? How are
I
you?
am ready. Good. How are you, Deb?
Oh, Heather, welcome to the show. I love when all you former guests come back in and multitask, and or the same with the same calls and come in. Thank you
Yes,
so much.
ma'am. Oh, no,
Yes.
thank you for having me. Hi, Jen. Thanks for all you're doing. That's great. Actually, I'm currently an owner of 4 pit bulls and one Chihuahua, and we recently lost one, Destiny, which was a pit bull as well, back in March. So we would have had 5. But yeah, all of ours are rescues, and I have to say though, I've been on both sides because many years ago when I was living in Florida at the time, and I had a Pomeranian at that time, and was married, to my husband, and he was just getting home from work one day, and I let my Pom out because he was just pulling in the driveway, and he was all excited to see daddy and everything, and I no sooner did that, next thing I know, a pit bull came out of nowhere and started attacking my Pomeranian
Oh,
and shaking him like a rag doll.
oh,
I don't know how this dog survived, but he did. S- and he survived twice an attack by the same dog 2 times in 8 days. So 8 days later, um, my husband at the time was working on an entertainment center at our house. And, the dog was a little squeamish because of the tools that he was using and stuff. So I said, oh, let me just put him out back. I just chained him in the backyard or whatever, just to get him away from like the noise and stuff. And again, no sooner I did that, and I heard my dog squealing in the backyard, and I ran back there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, Bear's being attacked again. So, my husband opened the door or whatever to try and, get Bear. I don't know how, but by the grace of God, um, Bear's collar came loose, and that's how he ended up getting in the house. At the same time, the pit bull ended up pushing his way into my house, trying to attack my Pomeranian, and we're trying to get this thing out of the house. I don't know how we did, but we did. At the time, actually, my husband ended up breaking his finger and getting 6 stitches because of this incident. So, that's that, and at that time, I'm like everybody else, totally against pit bulls and stuff because I've seen it firsthand and what they can do and what they're capable of. Um, so with that, I mean, it turns out, I think it was Halloween, like not long after our second attack, the dog ended up getting out again a third time, and on Halloween, and I think it attacked another dog, and it ended up being euthanized because it was 3 times. It could have been a kid or something. So, so that's why I'm saying I've been on both sides. I've seen that happen, and then now I own 4 of them, and I know that they're the sweetest, loving dogs that you could ever imagine, and I guess the one that, attacked my palm, I could only assume it's from the way it was raised. That's what I could only think of, because having the 4 that I have, they're the sweetest, gentlest, animals that you ever, they're so loving, it just, so like I said, I've been on both sides. I've seen the sweetness, and then I seen the ugly. So
Yeah. I mean,
um
well, first, I'm so sorry that that happened. That I know I've I have seen things like that, and it is not okay. And no matter what, I'm sure you've replayed it over and over in your mind. And
you're you're breaking up.
that's the
Yeah, you're breaking
part
up, but
that we have
yeah,
to. I mean, oh, hold on. Let me try something. Let me try something because it was fine, and now because you were breaking up, and I fixed it, and now maybe didn't
Nope,
fix it. Okay,
now
am
you're
I?
fine. Now you're fine.
okay, good. Yeah, it was good. It was breaking up bad, so it sounds good
Yeah,
better now. Yep, but go ahead. Yep. Can you hear me,
I
Jen?
can
Or
hear
Yep.
you. I can
Is
hear
okay,
it
you.
better now?
okay,
Sorry.
good. Yes, yes.
Can you hear me? Can you hear
Oh
me?
yeah.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. I didn't move. I'm in the same place. You know, it's it's unfortunate that that happened. I know that had to be traumatic. I know it was, and that I don't ever want it to have anything like that happen. And there's dogs that are no matter what breed you're talking about, there's dogs that are great without, and then there's dogs that might need a little bit more help. I have a
Yep.
dog. I just want to tell you that came from a federal dog fighting bust, and it's why I work with federal dog fighting cases. Her nose, she had no nostrils. She had
Oh
no
wow.
nostrils, and
Mm.
the top of her mouth was missing. And I saw her on Facebook, and I thought, oh, that's just so sad. Somebody will take her in. Well, nobody did, and I got contacted by a big animal org that said, Jen, this is in your wheelhouse. Would you think about helping her? And and so I went and met her. Super sweet with people, not okay with other dogs. But you know what? That's what responsible ownership is all about. Would I ever take her to a dog park?
No.
Heck no. Would I ever would I ever let her run loose in a yard, without a fence? Heck no. She has a separate entrance and exit to my house. She has her own room, and she doesn't have to see another dog. And let me tell you, when I say we take precautions, we take precautions. So I am a responsible pet owner with this dog. And that is the reason why the federal facility let me take her. And so that is the problem when it comes to pit bull type dogs, right? So we can say all day long that we want everybody to be happy and safe and all that good stuff, and we do. But if you have somebody that's not a responsible owner that knows what their dog is okay with and is not okay with, then they need to be held responsible, right? So
Yeah.
whoever owned the dog that did that to your palm, if there is an owner needed to be held responsible, I applaud you for getting past that and owning these guys
Yeah,
anyway, because now
yeah,
you see what they're really about, right? Like there's a
exactly.
reason, right? There's a reason why these dogs are used for dog fighting. The number one reason is their loyalty to people.
Yeah, I mean
Like
they're great dogs. I mean they really
they
are.
are.
You know,
Yeah.
actually, our one of our dogs we rescued, Magnum. He survived 3 gunshots.
Mm.
So God bless him. And actually today he just had his first heartworm injection, so he's inside resting. But he's the greatest. I'm telling you. I
Yep.
mean, he's just so
Yep.
loving, and he even with the others. He's like so like considerate, and he's so polite because he'll wait for them to finish eating or drinking their water before he'll go. You know, so they're just, I mean, oh yeah, no, he'll wait for them. Like if he's thirsty, he'll wait for them to get their water, and and then he'll go drink. Or if they're playing with their toys or whatever, and one try to take it, he'll just let them have it and just walk away. So
Right? I
yeah,
mean, at the end of the day, one of the things we need to remember is every dog is different. I mean, Animal Farm
yep,
Foundation has a great tagline. It is all dogs are individuals. And that it could not be more true.
yep,
And you know what? All people are individuals. Is it okay that my dog, her name is Mellow, and she's not Mellow at all? I did not name her, but that it was her name. Um, is it okay that she hates other dogs? Do I blame her? I look at her face and I'm like, I would probably be the same way. You know, she
yep.
had to have facial reconstructive surgery.
Wow.
Why? Because when she shut her mouth, she couldn't breathe, so she couldn't
Oh,
sleep.
aw.
So I took her to a surgeon in Florida, and we built man-made nostrils for her, right?
Wow. That's
But
Wow.
I
amazing.
Check that.
know,
That's
It
amazing.
is
but
awesome.
I know that she can never be with other dogs. I respect that. I understand that, and I'm never going to put her in that situation. And at the end of the day, isn't that what we should be doing? Just like
Yep.
we do with our
Yep.
kids, making sure that they're not put in situations that we know they're not equipped to handle.
Right.
Aren't we the protectors?
Yep.
You know,
Well, yeah, I mean,
we're the parents, we're the
exactly. I mean, when it
protectors.
comes to
Yeah.
feeding, because some of them have
Yep.
a little food aggression, so I make sure they're all separate. You know what I
Yep.
mean? I avoid
Yeah.
any issues. So for that reason,
Yep.
and then once they're done, they're all together again, no problem. So
Right.
yeah, yeah, and
You
I
manage
do.
it. It's managing the
Yeah,
situation that you have. Yeah, good.
exactly.
That's
But
awesome.
getting
That's awesome.
back to actually the shelter problems, and you're right. I mean, you go to the shelters and the majority of the dogs are all pit bulls, every single one.
Mhm.
There's so many of them, and like I've told Deb too, here on one of like the social media posts, like for our county, every day you see somebody giving up their dog, like they
Yep.
don't have, they're moving,
Yep.
or they can't take it with them, or
Yep.
breed restrictions. And actually
Mhm.
just the other day on one of the social media sites that I follow, for one of the animal shelters, they had 98 dogs that needed to be rescued, I think, within a day. Otherwise, they were going to euthanize 98 dogs.
That
Okay.
had to be,
And
Mm.
was that Lifeline in Georgia? I think it was.
yes,
Yep.
yes, yes,
Yep.
yep,
And they
yep.
got them all, but I think one. I think they got him out too. Yep.
Yeah, I mean
Yep.
I don't know about the other states, but I know here in Georgia it's a big, big, big problem with the overcrowding. I mean, all the rescues are full, all the shelters are full. And then actually here in Bartow County, I know the animal shelter here. There's like a big issue with the Bartow County Animal Shelter here in Georgia, that they started blocking the rescues. So they can't even help now because they're blocking all the rescue. It's a mess. It's a big mess, which is really sad. It's just sad
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Sometimes the egos, and I'm not saying this happening at your shelter because I don't know, but sometimes the egos get in the way of helping the dogs and the
Yep,
politics and
yep,
at the end of the day, we have to remember we're here for the animals. So whatever we can do to help them, that's what we need to do.
yep. I know. I mean, I only wish I can save all of them.
Me too.
Unfortunately,
Me
I
too.
I can't. I mean, we've saved six so far.
That's
So
awesome. That's
um,
awesome.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
so,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Awesome.
So
Yep.
we try. We try to do what we
Absolutely.
can. So
Just
that's all you
We
one
can
thing
do.
I didn't mention. One thing I want to mention, but I forgot to say earlier, if anybody's interested in helping or learning more about dogs from dog fighting cases, we have a website called savethedogs.net. And please visit it, check it out, see what we're doing. Um, the issue with the dogs that are from cases, and I didn't bring this up, I know we're out of time, but I just want to talk about this real quick. Dogs that come from cases, whether it's dog fighting, whether it's animal cruelty, hoarding, whatever the case may be, sometimes they have to sit for months, weeks, years while the court battle wages on. And if they're sitting in municipal shelters, those are kennel spaces that other animals can't have.
Right.
So it and if they're not in the shelters, we have holding facilities, and I work with one of them in the Carolinas where they keep dogs. And because they're not in municipal shelters, they're not on the radar of groups like Best Friends or the ASPCA or Humane World for Animals. So what does that mean? That means we have no grant funding for any of them. None of them will take any of these dogs. So we're kind of on our own. And I'm not saying woe is me, because we do pretty good placing them. But at the same time, these are dogs that people don't think about because they're nowhere to be found. I can't tell you where the facility is legally. I'm not allowed to, because I can't compromise the safety of the dogs or the staff, you know. So, there's a whole other set of dogs. There's a shelter in Florida that I just went down to a week ago, that had a dog fighting case that I was asked to help with, because they never had one before. And they had dogs at a separate location because they didn't want to put their regular dogs down because they were holding these dogs. And what happened? The person filed an appeal. What does that mean? The dogs have to stay there even longer, and the longer they stay in the kennel, the more likely they're going to have behavioral issues, because you can't sit in a cement kennel 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 2 years or 3 months or whatever it is and not have problems from it. So
mm.
yeah, please check out the website, savethedogs.net. Please keep doing what you guys are doing to help get the word out. Foster. You can't foster, donate money. If you can't donate money, donate supplies. Some of our needs are like towels and sheets. I mean, it's crazy. Little things like that. Amazon wish list for the shelters. Call a shelter and say, what do you need? I guarantee you they're gonna give you an answer. You can help in so many ways. You can't do any of that. Pick a dog at a shelter and say, I'm gonna advocate for this dog, and make a flyer and put them out in your community at your Starbucks or whatever, the Lowe's or whatever, whoever will let you put the flyers out. There's so much that all of us can do. We just need to do it.
That's right, and it doesn't take that long either. Just dedicate yourself, and you're doing something positive, a positive impact, not a negative one, a positive, and you'll feel really good after you get it. You do it, right? I mean, you can't give up. You cannot give up, and make better lives and futures for them. And your voices matter, your actions matter, whatever you can do, to help out. Because we're in a major crisis here, everyone, nationwide. And if you look at it, it's probably worldwide, so we're making voices heard on this podcast. So let your voice get in there. And Darla's leaving. And thank you, Darla, for all your going support. She's got a foster dog coming, and thanks for having that foster dog coming, Darla. That's awesome. So maybe I get you on the air next time. But anyway, and it's great, Pina, that you have participating tonight, and everyone. She has a group on there, Justice for Destiny, when we had a show together, and it's all archived. All these shows are archived, so you can go back and listen 24/7 and share them. A lot of people do miss them, and they want to go back and listen to them. So you have that opportunity at any time. You get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and listen to them, or listen to them and pull up another tab and go do what you got to do. And they're so very informative, educational, bringing awareness and prevention and how you can help out. But how's that petition there, Pina? Is it going? Is it getting any higher or
Yeah,
anything?
actually, we're almost up to 5,100. So we're over our
Wow,
5,000. Yeah.
good,
So we're
good. Don't
getting
give
there.
up.
Yep. Yep.
Don't give up. The
Nope.
Yeah, but I'm gonna take. Barbara wanted to has a question and everything, or comment. Barbara, you press that, and you can stay right on air there, Pino. Okay. And
Okay.
I
Thanks, Jeff.
appreciate Animal Warrior Sister. You're an outstanding advocate like the rest of you. When we need all of you and all your support, and with this show going on, it's not the only thing I do. I try to help out multitask as much as I can. And it doesn't take that long. It's not that difficult. It cannot get any easier than help make changes in the comfort of your home, your computer, your phone, your copier, if you have a fax, and, make them calls or sign those petitions and share them. I see petitions going around and it says signed. And I was like, do 1 foot more to the right and put shared, share it and get more signatures, So, but Barbara, if you want to have any comments or questions, and thanks for joining us this evening, and I'll be getting back with you tomorrow on the phone, okay? And love to hear your voice on my voicemail, but press that phone icon or mic icon in the lower right hand corner of your phone to alert me. I seen it coming in, but it comes in so fast, and then I'll bring you on air if you can hear me, okay? And I'm trying to still getting. I hope Arthur Liberty shows up. That Diane's son that I've been working with to help Diane through all this with a lot of help, not just myself, but Kelly and Deborah. But she's flying back home tonight. But go ahead, Barbara, and send it through. Or if anybody else has any comments or questions for Jen, the lower right hand corner of your phone, the phone icon or mic icon. Just press it and alert me that you want to come on here. You can share this show, everyone, from this chat room, and appreciate everything everyone does. You can like the show because keep building this show up and everything, and the followers, because the more followers it comes in and the more likes and attention, hey, it's moving. Voices Care for Animals podcast is rocking the airways for the animals in need. And I'm so happy about that. That's positive news. And I'm not giving up, and none of us other ones are either. So, but, and Peanut's out there. She's working hard. Mama Cat's out there. We're all out there working hard. And it's worth the time. We know we're not spinning our wheels. We are relentless, proactive, and optimistic. Don't give up because we are the animal's only hope to carry on. We don't want to keep it the same or get worse. We want to make it better, better lives and futures, because that's what it takes. Don't turn away or close your eyes or sweep it under the carpet like it's nothing, or wait for the next person to do something, because You are your voice and accents are very important and needed. So never think that it's not. Right, Jen and Pina? We have to work together. So
Absolutely.
yes, we have to work together. And then the stronger we become, because Mama Cat, we are strength in numbers. And
Yeah.
that she always says that. But Mama Cat, you want to speak? There she is. I know you was out there roaming around. And a big shout out to my mother, Pat Dahmer, too, aka Moose. You don't look like a moose, but it's another name for Mom. A beautiful woman inside and out. My best friend. Thank you, Mom. But go ahead, Mama Cat. Thank you for all your support.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I
I
know that.
I don't know a real lot about some of the topics that Jen's been speaking of. I do know a little bit about breed specific legislation, which we're still fighting all over the state. We've got a lot of them lifted, but there's always more work to be done on that front. I was curious as to how Jen got involved in the pit bull advocacy because I don't think she really said yet. If she did, I missed it.
No, you're very, very, very observant. I did not say that. Um, I got let's see, my husband at the time wanted a pit bull. This was many, many years ago, and I, like most people, was like, no, I'm not doing that. Pit bulls are horrible, blah blah blah, because I believed what I read, or what I heard, not what I read. And I started doing some research and decided that that was not the case. These dogs are fantastic. And so got my first dog, and her name was Sugar, and she was sweet as pie. And I loved her to pieces. And the more I got involved with her, and the more I loved her, the more I wanted to help more animals like her. So I went to my local shelter and walked up and down the kennel runs and saw pit bull, pit bull, pit bull, pit bull, and I said, should start a rescue. And so that's kind of, or I said I'd like to volunteer with a pit bull rescue. Well, there wasn't one in my city, so started one, and the rest is history. Almost 20 years later, I'm still here fighting for those dogs, and I'm
Wow,
so glad I did.
Yeah,
great
check that
work.
out. Great work. Yes.
Yeah.
That's what you call dedication. Not give
And
up.
I have a
Involvement.
question for you as well. A friend of mine got a pit bull, little bitty puppies, cute as a button, and raised him, put him through training, obedience, and all the proper stuff you should do. And she had one small child in the house. And the dog was just the epitome of a teddy bear. Just loved everybody except strangers.
Yep.
All of a sudden, one day, that dog just hated anything and everything that didn't live in the house.
Hmm.
I mean, they couldn't take him to the vet. They couldn't, he would just go ballistic mean, growling, jumping, biting. He never actually bit until he did. And what he did was the baby was crawling across the floor and crawled past where the dog was laying, and the dog made one noise. "Arr!" That was it. The mom went running around the corner, and the dog had bit the baby. Now he was like, 18 months maybe. He was just crawling and stuff. He wasn't walking or anything yet. And it bit him right across his face. Two
Hmm.
teeth, one on each side of the eyeball, and two teeth on his throat. And it didn't actually break the skin. It was a warning shot, basically, is what I called it. And she never let the dog anywhere near the baby again. She wanted to have the dog put down. The people at the shelter talked her into putting him through all these classes, and his temperament got worse and more. He was so mean and nobody knows what the hell happened. It was like a light switch switched from day to night. And the dog, he wasn't a small pit either. He was a beautiful, large, a lot taller, than the short, stocky ones. I mean, a beautiful dog, just beautiful, but nobody could handle him. And they ended up putting that dog down.
Uh,
Nobody
it's
could
hard
touch
to
him.
say. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. So there's so many different things that could be at play. Dogs have what you call critical socialization periods, kind of like babies, like young people do. So you think about being an only child, and if you're not around other kids, you're going to act more like an adult. I was the oldest child, right? So my closest sibling is 4 years younger than me. So if you're an only child and you're never around other kids, you're probably going to be a little socially awkward with kids. You know what I mean? And so there
Yeah,
could be something to do with saying a lot of people don't know that if they don't socialize their dogs outside of the home when they're growing up. Did they have this dog since they were a pup? It was a puppy?
yeah, they got it when it was just small. Like, I think it
Yeah.
was 10 to 12 weeks old. It was little.
Yeah. So I have a lot of questions. One would be how long was the puppy with its mother? Because that will make a difference. If puppies are
The
taken
mother
too young
died.
from mom,
The
okay.
mother died, and
Um,
she had 9 puppies. That's why they, you
okay.
know,
So I mean there's trauma right there that happens. And you think about trauma for people and baggage. Sometimes baggage affects different people in different ways. So that's part of it, I think. You know, I don't know if this family brought this dog around other people, around kids, around, before they had the child in the home. Like I don't
they did.
again,
They
I'm not
did.
blaming them. I'm just trying to put it
Yeah.
together. They
Yeah,
did?
he was about a year old um before he just switched.
Yeah, but was he around other people outside the house? Was he around kids?
Oh yeah,
Like I have a lot of
there
questions.
was a child in the house. There were people in the house. He went on
Mhm.
walks.
Okay.
They traveled a lot, so the dog was always around other, people, strangers. They
Yeah,
really don't know what happened. And they would, I mean, I watched the lady bawl her eyes out. They did not want to
yeah,
put this animal down, but he had already hurt. I mean, he gave the warning. And if you don't
yep.
listen to the warning, that's on you.
Yeah, it's gonna escalate if you don't listen to the warning. I mean, there's so many different things that could be at play, as to why that happens. Sometimes there's a genetic component where wires, and the best way to explain it is wires are
Right,
crossed with you know, and you don't know that that's happening because it's internal. And sometimes, no matter what you do, those genetics are going to override everything else. There's a nature nurture piece of it, right?
yeah,
So, it's hard to say without meeting the dog, which I can't do now, without talking to the family directly, without understanding all the bits and pieces. It's not simple. We have the good news is we have canine neuroscience now where we didn't a few years ago, where we're starting to understand the canine brain a little bit better, and we have a long way to go.
right.
So it could be the part of the breeding. We don't know about the dad. The mom died, but do you know why she died? Like what she died of? Or
I don't remember for sure what it was.
okay.
It was a major issue. I don't remember if it was the kidneys or the liver or something. I don't remember for sure.
Okay. Okay. So I mean, you think about it, if you're a young child and you lose your parent, you're gonna have some baggage from that. I can say that because I lost my dad when I was young, right? So I
Yeah,
speak from experience. And everybody handles their baggage a little bit differently, so that could be part of it. It could be how the breeding happened. It could be part to do with the dad. It could be that, that a lot of dogs, with kids that age, when they're not walking, they're crawling, they're very unsteady. They have jerky movements. That can be really scary for a dog. It just can. And I'm not blaming the child, don't get me wrong. There's just so many different things that could be happening to cause that I hesitate to give okay, this is why that happened, because I can't tell you definitively. But I can tell you from working. I work with Dr. Crosby, who is a world renowned canine aggression expert on some fatality cases. And there's a lot. It's kind of like boy, I'm going to tell you my age now. If you ever saw Dr. Quincy, you remember
I do.
Quincy?
I do.
Anybody? Okay. Right? Where you're trying to piece together what happened. That's kind of what you have to do in a situation like that. The good news is the dog gave a warning first,
Right.
you know,
That's
and
what
it's
I
going to
said.
be on the face. Yeah. And with a child, it's always going to be on the face, because where's the child's face in relation to the dog's face? It's
Right in the
at eye
dog's
level,
face.
right?
Yep.
It's right there. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, you're going to see that. And again, do I ever want to see a child hurt? No, no, no. I'm a mom. I would never want to see that. You know, it's just because of where the face is physically.
Oh, you're cutting
So
out.
there's
Hold
just
on
so
a
many
second. Yeah,
things
you
that
can.
could happen when something
Right.
like that happens. Are you
Well,
there?
what do you recommend that a pet owner do in the event of that happening? I mean,
If if
we all
something
know that
like
there
that
are.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
mean, if there's something where they have a concern that over the dog being unsafe for whatever reason, or the dog gave a warning or growled, or I really feel like part of the issue that we have, oh, I'm going to get on my soapbox, sorry, is dog trainers, right? So Jen Deane, I can say I'm a dog trainer and have no education whatsoever. I can put a shingle on my roof, put a website up and say I'm a dog trainer and not have any idea what I'm talking about. There's no regulation on dog trainers, but when I say this, understand that's where it's coming from.
Right.
I
Yeah.
think somebody that has an issue like that needs to go to a qualified dog canine professional, right? That
Yep.
can assess the situation, understand what's going on, and prescribe a behavior plan. And sometimes that behavior plan is behavior modification. And sometimes it involves pharmaceutical meds. It depends on what's going on, right? So, like with people, sometimes you'll see a psychiatrist, sometimes you'll see a psychologist, sometimes you need both. It's the same thing with dogs. So, veterinary behaviorists, the problem there is they're super expensive, but they're expensive because you get what you pay for. These are people that have gotten their general practitioner veterinarian, but then they've gone to additional schooling specifically for behavior medication. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So sometimes that was my long story, but basically what I'm saying is, you know, somebody that has something like that happen needs to consult a canine professional ASAP, and it's somebody that says, well, I can fix your dog, let's throw a shock collar on him, is not a canine professional. Okay,
Right.
that is not going to solve the problem. It understanding of what happened, the dog, medical history. A lot of times, behavioral issues are caused from an area of pain. Think about it. If I'm not feeling well, I'm probably going to snap at people. That's just me. Um, and so dogs can do the same thing. So there's things you have to rule out. Is it medical? Okay, it's not medical. Let's talk about this. So there's a lot that goes into figuring out what happened and coming up with a plan to address it. And it needs to be a comprehensive plan.
Right. The last place they took him to said that it was something neurological, and they're the ones that recommended putting him down.
Well, and that could very well be. You know, that goes back to like what I said, like wires crossed. That could be. I can't speak on that without
Right,
knowing more
right.
of the
I
history
was
and the
just
dog.
kind of wondering how you felt
But
about that. And,
but
I mean, I don't think euthanasia is always the answer to those situations. Like you said, there's other routes you
no,
can go, but a lot of people just don't have the money, to put
no.
into stuff like that.
No, they don't. And I tell you, if it was me and I had to hire I don't have the money for a veterinary behaviorist, you know? So I totally
Right,
get that.
right,
So it makes it really challenging to try to do what's best for your pet who's part of your family. And your family is, it's what do you do? It's just like going back to the shelter issue. If you can't afford, I had a personal dog that was sick and I spent over $2,000 and they still can't tell me what's wrong with her.
yeah,
You know,
Mm,
I mean, who can do that? I mean, luckily I can, but at the same time, it's disheartening. And I understand why the charges are the way they are because they pass along the charges that they're getting, but it just makes it all the more hard. And
right,
the reason why so many people are surrendering their animals to the shelters, and it's not a easy answer, it's complicated, but we have to, like Deb said, we have to keep working together and being the voice for those dogs and animals that can't speak for themselves.
right. And, I have a hard time with people, um, because I deal with feral cats. That's
Ah,
my
yeah,
forte. I deal with feral cats. And a lot of people, I do everything is fundraising, and
yeah,
a vet that is a godsend to me. But so everything I do is I have to fundraise for it. And a lot of people just don't understand why you would put that much money into an animal that you're never going to be able to touch and you're going to just release it back in, back outside because that's the life of a feral. And I always have to explain to them that life is life. And if that's what it takes to save that life, that's, what I'm going to do. Um, One cat, though, however, I think I
yep.
may have gone a little overboard with it. Was $4,800 for a feral cat that everybody told me you'd never.
wow. What? 48? What? You got to be kidding me. Something's got to give, you
That's
know?
Noel, Deb.
Oh, huh?
Yeah, that's
Oh, yeah,
Noel.
that's right. Yes. Oh,
Yeah,
my God.
yeah. The vet bill
Mm-mm.
was $4,800, and my vet, God bless his heart, he did all the medical for free. All I had to pay for was any medications that he used during the surgeries and after. And she had a prolapse, and she's a Manx, which makes it all the more
Yep.
difficult to take care of. Um, and she was, oh my goodness, she was so feral. She was the most feral cat out of the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cats I've dealt with. She was the most want to rip my face off cat that I've ever dealt with. Now she
Mm.
sleeps on my pillow.
Oh,
Yeah, I couldn't, the recovery time after a surgery like she had, and she had a ruptured umbilical cord, and she got fixed, and she had the prolapse surgery. Um, the recovery was several months. And
yep.
so I had her in the house. My husband built a catio for her so she could at least just go outside the window.
Oh,
He opened the window and she could go outside. She couldn't go any further than that at the time.
right.
Now, my husband built a 24-foot long, 9-foot wide, 6-foot tall catio, and she runs and chases butterflies out there. So,
Well, that was worth every penny, wasn't it?
absolutely. I mean, and
Yep.
that's the thing.
You can't put a price on a life. You can't.
No.
You just
Yeah.
can't. Nope.
And when I got her, I thought I was told she was degloved, that something got a hold of her tail and ripped her tail off, and all that was left was about a 2-inch bloody stub. and she was like 100 and some miles away from me. And I kept trying to find somebody to go get her, and nobody would or could, or, and we had a big snowstorm coming. So I just like, hell with it. I drove out there before the snow hit, and I set a trap, got a skunk. Said, shit. So I went back in the truck to get the second trap. I set it, grabbed my shower curtain to throw over the skunk so I could release her. And before I got the skunk released, the cat was in the other trap. So it didn't take me long to get her. She was hungry, that mackerel is what I used that day. She loved that stuff. Came right to it, got her in the truck, and oh my God, she stunk so bad. With the
Mm,
prolapse, she
Mm.
had, of course, liquid diarrhea, and she was just covered in it. I mean, just like 2 inches thick on her belly. It was pretty bad. I drove 100 and some miles back home with the windows open because I was gagging. And then I get her home, and I didn't know what the hell. How do you get that off of a feral cat? I mean, she wanted to rip my face off something fierce. And
Mm.
so while I was thinking about it, I just set the whole trap in my bathtub, walked out, and a light bulb went off. It's like, well, she's already in the bathtub. What if I just fill the bathtub up and let her soak in there? And that's what I did. And do you know that cat did not try to climb the cage? She didn't go crazy. She did nothing. She sat right there for an hour, soaking in that warm water in the bathtub.
Oh,
Bless her little heart.
yeah,
mhm.
bless her real heart. Oh my goodness.
That poor cat went
Wow.
through hell, I'll tell you.
Well,
Yeah.
well, Deb, this has been great. I have got to go to bed because I've got to get 7 dogs from dog fighting on a plane tomorrow morning to go
Oh
to
Okay.
boy.
rescue. Yep, yep.
7 of them. Wow.
7 of them are going to freedom tomorrow.
Thanks for
Yay!
everything you
Yay!
do,
All
Jen.
right. Good. That's a good news. And Jen,
Yeah,
I
I got to
can't.
get them.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yep, that's good news. And
Hey,
that's what we want to see is good news and victories, and that's our
absolutely.
goals. So we can do the happy dance. Mama Bear loves doing the happy dance when there's good things happening.
well, 7 of them are leaving. 7 of them are getting on a jet plane, on a private plane tomorrow morning. I'm where they're going on a plane, so I'm really
Where are you
Oh
happy.
taking
yeah.
them to?
They're going. 4 of them are going to a rescue called Out of the Pits in New York. They're fantastic, and 3 of them are going to Speranza Rescue in Mechanicsville, Pennsylvania.
All right. Okay. Well, it was nice
Yep.
chatting with you, hon. Nice talking with you.
Yes, and
Good luck
Jen,
tomorrow.
have a safe trip and everything, and looking forward to having you back on. You're amazing
Absolutely.
too. Another great show. I mean, all these shows and they are great because all these former guests and current guests that come on, they are a total success. The callers, I mean, just it is so awesome. It's so the all of you coming together and working together and listening to these shows and keep liking these shows. Everyone's sharing them and everything. And that's what makes it happen. Our voices are being heard, making voices heard worldwide. Rocking the airways for the animals in need, right? We cannot give up because that's what we're here for. We have to see change. In order to see change, you've got to take action. But Jen, be in touch with you. Another shout out to Dyla. She couldn't make it, but I'm rescheduling her, okay? And I'll let you know when it happens, right? And then you
Yep.
could join us again. I'm always welcome guests. All guests come back, multitask. Join us on this show, just like Peanut did tonight, and Mama Cat, former guest. It's awesome. I love it. That. I believe in teamwork all the way, working together. So but I'll be in touch with you, Jen. And thank you so much for stepping in this evening. Another great show. and we're
Thank
wishing you best
you.
luck and good luck tomorrow and safe trip and all that. That's good news.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you. I'm excited for them.
yes. And after it gets published and everything, I'll text you and let you
Okay.
know. Okay, that way, yeah. And everyone, you can go and share 24/7. Keep sharing, 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 because that's what it takes. So that other ones hear it, because you never know who's listening. I mean, the voices do carry for the animals. They do carry for the animals. If there's enough of us, if not, we're only spinning our wheels. So help to make changes out there. Your voice matters and your actions matter. Help make that change. That's what it takes. But thank you. And if anybody, I'm going to be shutting down here real soon here. I wanted to give a shout out to Reginald at Facts Porcupine Podcast. Hello there, Reginald. So glad to see you come back this evening. And then, joining us. And all of you, whoever's listening on the web, Podbean web, thank you all so much. Hope sometime you will join us on the app. This app is awesome. We all love this app, don't we, Mama Cat? It is great. And there was a chat room on Blog Talk Radio, but I really didn't use it. He said, "Hi, sir, thank you, but I'm a woman. I got a deep voice." They always think I'm a man on the radio and phone, but I'm a woman, Debbie. So follow me, keep following me around, keep spreading the word. Oh, you don't have to apologize. It happens all the
They're
time.
getting used to it now.
I'm used to it. It's been happening for years. I have some have had male guests on, and they'll say, "I thought Debbie was going to interview me." And I said, "I am Debbie. That's the one who interviewed you." you know. So, but anyway, everyone that participates in this show and helps me show, big shout out to fans of animal rights on Facebook. They've been a long time. I mean, share the shows every Thursday, and they've been, I mean, for years. And then check their page out; they got some good stuff. And a big thank you to all of the Facebook on Voices Carry for Animals support group, the members on there that help share it. My Voices Carry for Animals podcast Facebook page. Follow me there, okay? And also on my website, voicescarryforanimals.com. Subscribe. And I got good news, Mama Cat. I've been trying to put the PPJ Gazette back on. Okay, so the last two shows I've been doing some tests because it was Marty Oakley website where she added Voices Carry for Animals. I'm trying to get that up running. Everybody, that's who was the grassroots of Voices Carry for Animals. She passed away April 1st of 2023, so sadly, and miss her. She was a super team player and a super friend. And she's the one to help me get Animal Advocates Radio together. I was on her TS Radio Network for since June of 2014 to March of 2018, and she helped me to get this together. And I'm still going, and we kept in contact. Isn't that great? So we have to, like I said, we have to work together and be there for each other. But she was, and I'll never forget her. I have a tribute to her on my Voices Carry for Animals .com website, and you can subscribe free. There's a link. Our rest in peace, Marty Oakley. A link to all the 163 shows I did on her network, and also on voicescareforanimals.podbean.com. I got a tribute to her there with a link from Podchaser .com that I found them and all because when I noticed she had over 2,000 shows where mine was mixed in with hers for elder abuse. I was her co-host for over 75 shows on that one. So if I add them up, I'm up to 600 shows, almost 600 shows between elder abuse and Voices Carry for Animals when I did it back in elder abuse about 2014 and 2015. So yeah. So, but anyway, next week I want to alert everyone. I have another guest coming in from the UK. I'm going to do the show at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern time next Thursday. Okay. Then after that, it will be back to normal for the remaining of the year. But Cheryl Joyce, she's the founder and CEO of Pet Pardon in the UK, and I want to welcome her aboard. This is her first time, and Spencer Hodges is the one who referred me to her, and that connected us. Isn't that wonderful? So
Yeah.
next week we'll be live from the web, which you can still join us in there, um, and get in the chat room and everything. So I'll be passing all the and all the promos around with the correct time, and please help me share them as usual. And we're going, she's that's another rescue, so we'll be talking about rescues again. And with all these animals need our attention. They need our help in some form or matter. We got to make it better for them because the animals they rock. I mean, they're so awesome, all of them. And that's what I stand up for. You know, every Thursday. Being a voice for them, being a strong voice, and can't do it alone. I do my best, but I can't do it alone. So teamwork is needed, everyone. Okay, and don't forget that because that is what it takes. And thank you, everyone that's joined us in the chat room this evening. This thing is rocking, everyone. So please check it out if you get a chance. And Barbara, thank you for joining us tomorrow. I'll give you a call tomorrow. And Mama Cat, I can't thank you enough either. And Aloha and Pina that joined us this evening. Just keep on, keep the prayers coming. And I had Arthur. I was talking earlier about Diane, then Liberty, or Diane Echo, both names. And she was We Love Pit Bulls on Facebook. I've had her several times, and the sad news that happened to her. And Arthur was texting me, so they was having some difficulties getting in. So I'm gonna figure it out what happened. But I do give you a big shout out there, Diane and Echo, because she is listening in because he's at the nursing home. Okay, so keep
Hi,
praying for her.
Diane.
Hi, Diane. Everybody in the chat room, say hi to Diane and Arthur Liberty. He's standing right by his mother, his mother and best friend. He's going through an overwhelming time right now. Keep the prayers coming for her, okay? And because she's in there, and she took a hard fall. And luckily, she's on a walker and she's learning the cane, but she's getting better. Okay, so keep the prayers coming, and God, we will always trust. Okay, and Diane, I'm sending you a big hug through the airways here, the mama bear. Okay, so I'll be getting with you both, and if you're listening, I know you're listening in because I'm getting the text, and I'm sorry you couldn't get in. I will figure it out so next time you can get in. So I always figure it out, right, Mama Cat? We got to. That's what it takes. When I first started, I was a newbie on the newbie level. Now I'm in the second level. So I'm going to keep going up. But I want to, next week get it 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern next Thursday. Okay, all shows are archived, so you can listen and share 24/7. And after it's published tonight, it's going to go to like 24 other podcast websites. This show is really getting out there. Isn't that wonderful? Plus
Yeah.
my two websites, and I'm starting up the PPJ Gazette online again, and also the two YouTube channels. The YouTube channels are not doing too good because I don't really have time to get out there and promote them, but it'll pick up. It takes time. It ain't going to happen overnight, right? We just got to do what we can do. And but the downloads, where people go back and listen on downloads on podserve.fm under Animal Advocates Radio. Tyler from there has helped me from the beginning because I didn't have a clue what was how to start a new podcast or anything like that, or because they give you a host website too, is podserve.fm and Podbean also. So the one on Podbean, Mama Cat, is after it gets published, it's going to hit the PPJ Gazette. All I got to do is go in there, edit it, and then bam, it's gone. Isn't that wonderful? Good news. And that's what Marty would want. Marty Oakley, may you rest in peace. I wish you could was here to see all this good news and how it's, it just has exploded, right? I mean, it's like wow, this is awesome. But
Yeah,
I,
we
but
would be proud.
yeah, so, but she would be so. I mean, it would freak her out to see how it's going now. It was going great on Blog Talk Radio. Don't get me wrong, But now, a door closed and a better one open. There's
Yep.
always such that word as better out there. I was proud of Blog Talk, but it's sad to see them close down. But this door right here, man, just went poof. Voice is scary for animals, like bam, blew up in our thing. So, but all thank you, and thank you, Moose, aka Pat Dahmer, my mom. She's listening in. Love her to death. Best friend and mother. She's awesome. She got a heart of gold. And Mama Cat, yeah, you tell your hubby he's listening in that I said hello and thanks for always tuning in, okay, and
You
being
would
there.
too.
Yeah, so and Skylar too and Allie because they were guests one time. Remember that with
Yep.
you, and they
Yep.
got on there, and they was I think he was 10 years old and she was what 8 or something.
I
This
think
is
she
years
was
back.
8. Yep, 8 and 10 they were when they
Yep.
started.
Isn't that great? All right. Hey, Reginald, thank you for tuning in, okay? As it's awesome. I believe in teamwork all the way, getting the word out there. But keep following me, everyone, and hope you all have a wonderful evening and a relaxing evening, and hope you join us next week. Because, hey, we're going to be here every week, and then when December comes, we're going to close down for a month, and then come back in January. That's, I'll still be advocating, but taking off for Christmas and getting ready for the new year and everything and celebrating Christmas. That's my favorite month right there. It lights up. People are the nicest around, aren't they? It's all the gatherings and everything. But thank you, everyone. And Mama Cat, you ready to rock and roll, Mama Cat? How
You
are
know
you?
I am. Hand in hand, united we stand against all animal cruelty and neglect across the land. Good night, everybody. God
Good.
bless.
God bless everybody, and I hope you join us next week because it's going to be another great show. Okay, and no doubt in my mind. And when we come together like this, it gets our voices out. We inspire each other to take that action. In order to see change, you got to take action. No questions asked. Right, Mama Cat? That's what it
Nothing
takes
changes if
because
we don't make changes.
that's right. And may God bless you all, and hope to you tune in next week, okay? Because all of us are needed to help the animals out. Can't do it alone, right there, Mama Cat. That's
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 right.
what that's what it takes.
You know I'll
And
be here.
oh yeah. So, but anyway, thank you all for joining us. And remember, let's stop BSL and help them pit bulls out because they got such a bad rep. Give them a chance. But good night. Thank you.
Good night, Debbie. Love ya.
Good night. Thank you, Mama Cat.
Meow.
Meow. Thank you all for tuning in to Voices Scared for Animals podcast, coming live every Thursday at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Mountain, and 4 o'clock Pacific. Live stream. Appreciate you all. Thank you. Night, Mama Cat. Night to all of you. With our voices, the animals will be heard. With our actions, the animals will seek justice. Good night, everyone. Mama Bear hugs to all of you.